Try it one more time. It's acting like it's done. We're calling AAA. Well, I just cashed out my whole $14.75 on DoorDash to go get some oil in hopes that this is the only culprit to this problem. Well, we're at O'Reilly's Auto Parts trying to figure out what oil we need for this Honda. So much fun. But not really at all. I do know that online it says 5W20. So explain that to me one more time.
If you do conventional, you can switch over to synthetic, but if you do synthetic, you have to stay synthetic, or you'll ruin your motor.
Okay, so this would be an option?
Let's see, that's synthetic. Yep, full synthetic.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna grab this one and see if that works. It's really sad when you can't afford a funnel and you have to borrow one of theirs.
Do you have an account with us at all?
No. So I actually can't even afford that because my card declined. Yippee. Real life when you can't afford oil and you have to call in reinforcements until you can get home to your baby emergency fund. You cannot live in this world, especially in 2025. I mean, let's face it, any time in life without having an emergency fund. The only downfall is with the cash budgeting is that the emergency fund is safely put away in its spot that it's supposed to be in at home. So, in that regard, I need to figure out some way I have access to some of the funds during an immediate emergency, because I won't be at home every time something happens, and it's likely that it's going to be every time. This is also one of those moments where you kind of have a small heart attack because you realize that it could be something much more, especially since the car was bought very used and you really don't have the funds to do a big car repair. It's not in my emergency fund. Nope. So we might be in a bit of a pickle if it isn't the oil being low. Hopefully this is it, or we don't know. We have no idea. Jordan doing real man things in a serious matter. He's like, don't even go there with me right now. Right? Right? Because if this doesn't work,
then I'm gonna freak the ever-living words out.
she lives! Kind of. Something is definitely not right. Alright guys, we made it home. That was a long walk. That walk sucked. Wouldn't suggest it. Gonna have to do it again at least a few more times before we figure out what's going on with the van. Because we dropped it off at the mechanic and we walked home. So, what does this mean? Because some people would be mad if I decided to leave it as a cliffhanger as it is. It is a cliffhanger because we don't know what's going on with the van. But I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that we're hoping this is not horrible. And I almost feel like I can't even make this up because it's just my real life. It's reality. And this is other folks' reality too. I mean, you may be Charlie Brown walking around with a dark cloud over you, and maybe you aren't. Maybe you are a very fortunate person and life is nice to you, but I'm on a low income and I got that Charlie Brown cloud thing going on. So let's talk about the reality. The absolute reality is that I live in an area, in a specific area of Oregon, where we don't really have a lot of transportation. We don't live in Portland. I don't live in Eugene. I'm living in a country bumpkin town, not even close to any of those major cities. I mean, unless you want to count like 4-hour drive or so. But we have to have vehicles. Everybody here, if you're striving, you're driving. That's just life. So there is no bus system. There's no taxis in this little town. There's no Uber. There's no Lyft. I didn't kill off the van because I did 3 DoorDash orders. So let's not even go there on the wear and the tear. The car is already old. The car is almost 20 years old. It's 19 years old. It was never new used, or never even from a lot. So in reality, driving an old car, because that's what we could afford on our low income after selling the Chevy Impala, which had the blown head gasket, really just meant that we were playing the lottery. Is it gonna work long term, or is it not? We don't know. Now that it is our only vehicle, we have no choice but to get it fixed. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm not a mechanic. I've had people guess in comments, which you could do, but then people are like, oh, I didn't realize it was that. So, it's not a mechanic. That means that because there is no bus, no taxi, no Uber, no Lyft, I'm going to be using my Lamborghinis, my feet, to bring me across town, all the way from one end of town to the other, to get to work, which sucks. And that's just life. I don't want to. I'm going to be ugly tired. I have to get up really early in the morning. Some of my training days start really early, like before the sun. So that means I'm going to have to walk. That also means Jordan's going to be walking. Anything we may need for the family, he'll be walking. If he needs to go to the bank, he's going to be walking. If he needs to go get groceries and I'm at work, he's walking. We don't have a lot of money right now. It is reality. It is reality. And it's not to make anybody feel bad. It's just the honest truth. This is real life, living on a low income. This is waiting for your paycheck. This is why I liked being self-employed, driving DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, Spark, Instacart for the last, can't believe it, it's a long time. But that's why I continue to do those things, because it brings in money every single day. And reality is I don't really know what's been going on with this van prior to us owning it. Jordan doesn't know. There was no hindsight is 2020 situation, other than should we have not bought the van. And truthfully, it's not a bad van. I actually really like the van, and Jordan is a van type of guy. He's like van or a truck. and I can't afford a truck. He can't afford a truck. So van was it. Also, the other reason for the van is if we have to travel with everybody, if we have to travel with the pets. Also, the biggest thing is that what are we going to do, because we have the rest of this house to work on before we make any crazy big changes. We have to work on the remainder of the house. So in order to do that, we have to have the tool to bring the tools to us, and that's to be able to have a van or a truck. Got to get supplies. So, with all things said, I don't know. Take your guess. I can't tell you if you're right or wrong. My guess is it could be the fuel filter on this. The fuel filter is usually like pretty standard first thing to go. I don't know if it's an alternator starter situation. I don't know if it could be more with the motor. I have no idea. So far, there was no overheating. There was nothing indicating a head gasket. Fingers crossed, because let me tell you, if it's something major, we are supremely screwed. Someone is going to say, well, you should just move. I wish I could just move. I've even asked the universe for a sign. Universe, I didn't mean the car. I meant give me a sign, like a billboard or something. This is something that Jordan and I were cackling and giggling at on the way home as we were exhausted going up a hill, a very steep hill. He's kind of dragging me, holding my hand, and he's like, this is not what we meant, universe. This is not the sign we meant. It's not the car. That's not what we're talking about. So I don't know if you are a believer in fate, if you're a believer in the universe giving you a sign, if you are a believer in God, if you're a believer in other religions. But there are times in life where you're so frustrated, where you're like, please, 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 the bleeding, make it stop. Because I'm sick of sitting here bleeding from the head. I can only make money come in so fast. I am not rich. I'm not making it rich anywhere out of any side hustles that I'm doing. I am not gonna lie to you. Moving is expensive. It's expensive. It costs us like $1,500 just to move from one little area where we were living in our expensive apartment we really couldn't afford to this mobile home. $1,500. But it's going to cost a lot more if we were to move out of state. You have to think of housing. Where am I going to live? How much is it going to cost for me to get there? If I had to sell everything, how would I gain all that stuff back? And honestly, we've laughed about that too. Less is more. I even had told many of you guys who messaged me on Instagram, I would take a small break from driving just to not have to pay for all the costs of driving, because driving is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Costs too much money between tires and maintenance and car going down and gas and insurance and all the things. You think to yourself, this is why people in huge cities like New York do so well, because they don't have to pay for a car. They're not paying for a car. Yeah, it's a convenience, it's a luxury, but it's not a luxury when you live here. It's a must. It's a must have, or you are like, you better work super close to your job, especially in the snow and the ice. Not only is it unpredictable for you because you could fall and eat the pavement, or, which I've done that before, let me tell you, not fun, or you have to think of the safety of people that are dumb and driving on the road. We have a friend that rides a bike, has been hit by a car a handful of times, mostly in the wintertime, because people aren't thinking, and they're not looking, and they're not paying attention to their surroundings, and they're like, oops, sorry, I clipped you with my truck, even though you're a pedestrian on a bike. So I mean, either way you spin it, this sucks, I hate it, I don't want to deal with it, it is what it is. This is my real life on a low income. I know that offends people when I say that, but I'm a realist. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, I started the vet clinic job and now everything's going great. Oh, it's okay, my problems are solved. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. I'm still making under the average median to live in my state of Oregon, in my area, in my county. So it is what it is. If it offends you, sorry. Doesn't offend me. It's not messing with my mindset. My mindset is always to do better. Whether I am living one low income life to the next, whether or not I decide, that this is no longer struggling. This is whatever it may be. It doesn't affect my mindset. Because my mindset is always to strive for better, always have more, always be able to live on less. Because even if I was doing better financially, I probably wouldn't live my life much different from this. Probably would have a better, safer place to live, probably would have a better, safer vehicle that didn't have as many problems. I probably would have a better emergency fund. I probably would have less woes, but the reality is that I'm frugal. I'm frugal. It is what it is. I was born this way. I was born into frugality. I come from hardworking people. I come from people who are business owners, and I come from tons and tons of people who've been struggling it. Fake it till you make it, right? But I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.